Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Morning Stars podcast. My name is Cameron, and I'll be your host today and forever, where we talk about anything Dallas Stars, news, games, predictions, updates, anything like that on your commute for my commute. So, man, Game 4 last night was a fun one. I was able to watch most of the game, and it was an entertaining one. We had lots of different storylines. The three stars of the were were pretty clearly, or not maybe three stars, but the three big storylines of the game were Heiskanen returning, Granulnd hat trick, and Jake Ottinger playing Jake Ottinger. He was lights out. But starting with Heiskanen returning, it was long due. I wouldn't say overdue necessarily. I mean, we don't necessarily know that, but he was activated from IR. We ran 7 defensemen and 11 forwards, which we'll get to here in a second, just to kind of ease him back in. I'm not 100% sure what his exact ice time was. At the end of the second period, I believe it was at just under 10 minutes. So I'm assuming that he played around the 15-minute mark. He didn't look terrible. He didn't. Obviously, he's not going to look like normal. You could tell it was his first game in a few months, and definitely first playoff game, which you can't really necessarily blame on him. Playoffs are a whole different beast from the regular season. So you could tell he was kind of getting his legs under him a little bit. Made some plays that he probably would want to have back. The big one that sticks out to me is the Kyle Connor breakaway, where he kind of fumbled up the puck and then Connor kind of took off in front of him. Heiskanen kind of struggled to get to his top speed, it looked like. Luckily, Andre was there to stick out that left pad, make a beautiful save in the breakaway. But yeah, But then on the other hand, he also showed some flashes of his normal self. He had a really nice assist on the power play for Granulnd's third goal. It wasn't the most beautiful pass, but on the power play, all you really got to do is get it to the open guy who looks like he's going to shoot. Granulnd did, went in, and that was that. I think he'll only continue to get better as time goes on. I think it'll kind of be like a Robertson situation where he is kind of spending some time on the lower lines, kind of slowly ramping up his ice time. I think the best thing that could come from this is we finish him off in 5, maybe 6 games, get those two guys some more rest, some more time with for Robertson, get some time on that Johnson and Ben line if that's where they want to keep him, and then for Heiskanen to kind of figure out where he fits into the defensive core now. As far as the 7D and 11 forwards, I think that's something you just got to keep for at least this game, but I would even lean towards the rest of the series. Away at Winnipeg's home, we saw game 1 how, we didn't fully run 11 forwards, but we saw Rantanen double shift for back there for a good chunk of the game. Now, obviously, back is also a good penalty killer, great on the PK. So that's just something that we'll lose. But we saw even last night, it wasn't a big deal. Obviously, we had the goal that was right after the power play, like basically immediately after, that I think Andre would love back. It was a bit of a leaky goal, but other than that, the power play for the Jets was non-existent. So we proved that we can do it with 11 forwards without having to worry about losing a PK guy. And I think they should continue to do it. If not for Heiskanen, for the rest of the team, get Rantanen on the ice more, kind of shuffle those lines a little bit, see who fits well where. Um, and it worked out game 1, so might as well go back to it game 5, you know. But then the second big story that came out of last night was Ottinger, man. He was lights out. He was absolutely phenomenal. He saved us more times than I can count. He had probably a 5-minute highlight reel just from that game alone. He had obviously that Kyle Connor breakaway save. He had a bunch of saves from that high danger slot area that he was just able to stick his pad out from. He was just came up big time in the clutch, you know, towards the end of the third period, especially on that Jets power play with what was it, like 5 minutes left or something like that. But yeah, he looked really good. I mean, other than Frederick Anderson, I think he's the only other goaltender that I would rather have in the playoffs right now, and that's even go up against sorry, and that's even considering the big names in this playoff. You know, Aiden Hill, a known playoff performer, Bobrovsky, who has looked good in his last couple playoffs. Logan Thompson, I think, is up there. I think he's definitely that third in the conversation, but he is kind of getting shelled a little bit right now by the Canes, so which isn't all his fault, but regardless, Ottinger has bailed us out night after night. Obviously, you know, you'd rather him have an easier night than a night where he has to go absolutely nuclear, but you can't really complain in the playoffs. You know, you're going to get the wins, how you're going to get them. So I think as long as he continues to keep it up, we got a pretty good shot here at closing out this series for the next couple of games, which would be great. But then, I mean, Mikhail Granulnd, out of absolutely nowhere, pots goals 2, 3, and 4 tonight. It was absolutely nuts. You could hear the American Airlines Center going insane on his third goal. A third Stars hat trick in, what was it? They got one game 7, game 1, and then like the third Stars hat trick in like 5 games, I think 5 or 6 games. It's nuts. These individual performances right now that the Stars are getting from these guys is awesome. The fact that they're able to raise their level on a night-to-night basis is really good to see. Granlund had his first goal was a really kind of weird goal. On the power play, just had his own entry and put it on net, and it went in on Hellebuck. Another kind of road Hellebuck goal where, you know, he saves that one 10 out of 10 times probably in the regular season, and definitely would want that one back. And I think a big kind of momentum change a bit for the Stars. You know, the Jets would kind of go on to dominate the rest of that first period and into the second, but I think at about the halfway point, I think the Stars just kind of took over. Or maybe not took over per se, but it was a lot more even back and forth. You know, it wasn't really just one team absolutely dominating the others. But then his second goal, beautiful 2-on-1 snipe on Hellebuck, just goes high glove on him. I'm not super familiar with Hellebuck's 2-on-1 situations, but I saw a lot of Jets fans saying that he's been beat up high like that a lot recently. So, you know, I can only assume that that's another one that he probably would want back. I mean, the way that 2-on-1 was playing out, it was pretty obvious that Granlund was going to shoot. I don't know who the defender was, but he played the 2v1 pretty well, gave Hellebuck the 1-on-1 basically, and he just got beat cleanly. It was a really nice shot though. You know, can't discredit Granlund or anything. But then goal 3 was that Heiskanen assist, that Heiskanen play, where it was just Ovi-esque slap shot from the circle. It was just an absolute beauty. Beat Hellebuck clean again, and the crowd went nuts. It was really fun. It was a great game by him. You know, his performance so far, like up until that point, was good, but you know, not anything out of the ordinary. But yeah, it was a big game by him and one that was needed too. No one else scored any goals. Rantanen did come really close. I mean, this game very easily could have been 5-1 Stars. He had an open net rebound opportunity that just barely went off his stick, and then he had another deflection that just barely went over the crossbar. That would have been a wide open goal as well. But yeah, they played great. I don't think there was really anything big that I noticed. The shots, they were getting kind of doubled up on shots through the first half of the game, but I really do think towards the end of that game there, they really just turned on the Jets, which kind of seems to be their thing is, hey, we're going to get that first goal if we get it, but if not, we're just going to turn it up come the second, third period. I'm not saying that's a 100% winning formula, but yeah, we lead 3-1 now. It's looking good. It's looking promising. The one thing that I do kind of worry about is just due to the Jets' home track record. This is a very easy game that I think, or a very easy series, sorry, that can go 7 games very quickly. I think it can flip around very fast. The Jets have 2 home games to the Stars 1, and to the Jets' credit, this last game, they didn't look absolutely terrible away, which kind of maybe proves to them a little bit that they have what it takes to take an away game here, finally, maybe. But yeah, all they need to do is win their 2 home games. Or sorry, all they need to do is split home and away game, and then they go back home for Game 7, and that's we've seen how they perform Game 7 against the Blues. It was a pretty insane comeback. So we'll have to see. It's hard to say how this Jets team will take it, if they'll use this Game 4 loss as motivation, or if they'll kind of just peter out and die. Obviously, I would like the latter, but it's a professional hockey team with professional players, so I would assume that they're not gonna roll over and die. But we'll see. Game 6 on Game 5, on Thursday. But we'll check in then and see how that goes. But thank you for watching the Goodbye Stars podcast. This is the end of my commute, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours. And goodbye.